Rinpoche spoke about suicide rising in Bhutan. And although many viewers, before when I asked other Rinpoches, I've got some feedback from viewers who are saying that it's not really a grave problem. But the recent International Youth Day was proof. And even Quinsal ran a story saying that depression and suicide go hand in hand. And it's really rising amongst the youth, more so amongst male youth, for whatever the reasons might be. Any advice that Rinpoche?
So now this is the interesting part, is that in order, what I think, and this is what I've heard many times people tell me, is that in order to learn people's, what we like to call, calling for help, you usually, when we think help, meaning or somebody with a poster or with screaming out loud saying help me, help me. But nowadays the help sign is more of a really unidentified way. People say it in music, people say it in movies, people say it in their own way through talking or through their class or relationships, so many ways. And what I see in Bhutan is actually very sad, because I hear a lot of things saying Bhutan top what you call music, modern pop music, but most of the pop music is quite depressing to hear, that saying things like, oh, my life is not finished, or I am not getting what I wish for, or things like so depressing words. Even do you watch movies in Bhutan nowadays, the new movies that people like to watch, is all about conflict, fighting, keeping their reputation up, and so many sad things. Nothing uplifting, all downlifting. And when you look at the new teenagers, even the way they dress so badly, so like as if they just came from the mining group where they just mined, all black and this and depressing. And I look at this and I feel depressed. I mean, Bhutan is supposedly the land of Vajrayana. People should be much more a little bit uplifted rather than this. But what I feel is that one thing that they really go through is that, maybe I am totally wrong, or maybe this is just what I feel, is that the youngsters feel they're sort of like trapped in a way. Is that when they look at movies, or when they hear stories, of course one thing is that the information, what we call the information box, internet, is that they see all of these young, enthusiastic, educated Western students. They can travel the world, they can enjoy or whatever, and they are like stuck in here, cannot go anywhere, and sort of like living their life in this small world. They don't see the outside world. So they feel like, oh yeah, I mean, I do my study, I might get a mark, and then what am I going to do? Maybe work, get some money, and no reason, no future. So rather than living this terrible life, I should just end it. And what I have even spoken, I'm sure some of you must have heard in the RTC, is that even animals, to the extreme point, they will never think of doing the action of committing suicide. We have a very rare case. We human beings need to be much more better than animals, but we are getting worse. And the funny thing nowadays is that it's a bit like this. If you ask somebody, if you take a knife or a gun and tell somebody, hey, I will give you this weapon and you should go and kill that guy, everybody will say, no, I will not do that, that's bad. What is bad? You can take the liberty to kill your own self. Why can't you kill somebody else? It's the same thing. It's just that person and you, but the same action. You're killing. You are, by force, by all your force, stopping your precious life. So I think, in a way, I think it's extremely sad for us, for all of us, to see that we are not able to help the people who really need help. So what I want to say is, there is always the door and the hand of solution.
So I think Rinpoche, in Rinpoche's answer, not only spoke to the youth of Bhutan, but more importantly to parents, to teachers, to the government, to everybody, that the signs and symptoms are all around of youth not being happy. Because I myself personally, until Rinpoche very insightfully shared with us that the lyrics of the song, the script of the movies, these are all signs of the fact that they are unhappy. And I think now we should be looking, like the Buddha Dharma shares, not really listen to just the tune of the song, but the words of the song as well. The reasons might be many. One of the reasons are because we do not value what we have here in Bhutan, and our attention is too outward, too, we can call it, looking too much towards the West. And one thing we have to bear in mind, the youth, is the fact that everything we see on television, especially from content from abroad, are scripted. The stories are made, and it always invariably has a happy ending. And I think, if I'm not misunderstanding Rinpoche, I think what the youth here, and as well as parents, we also need to pay attention to what our children are doing, what is inspiring them, what is depressing them. But more importantly, we need to see how precious human life is. And I wanted to express the fact that even in the RTC teaching, I really liked the example that Rinpoche shared, and today as well. Many times we call ourselves the more intelligent animal. As human beings, consider ourselves to be more intelligent and important than animals, wherein when animals, no matter how difficult it is, they do not commit suicide, and we do such acts. I would like to thank Rinpoche for that. Rinpoche, a final question in relation to youth, in a sense. Rinpoche just shared with us about what could be the reasons and how the youth should feel. What can Rinpoche offer as a consolation to, say, a parent or a brother or a sister or a husband or a wife who have lost their children or a loved one to suicide? Any words of consolation from Rinpoche?
I understand, of course.